What is up, car addicts? In this video I'm going to be giving a guide for this week's HSW time trial for next gen consoles only, this week's normal time trial, RC Bandito time trial, and the premium race for this week, totaling over $550,000. Remember, the time trials can only be completed once during the event week period for the full payout. The premium race, however, can be completed in a limited amount of times with a 48-minute cooldown between each win. Also keep in mind that rocket-powered / flying vehicles cannot be used in time trials. So starting off with the HSW time trial for this week, which is Textile City. Again, remember that you can only use an HSW upgraded vehicle for these time trials. And the best one for that is obviously the Hakuchu Drag with the HSW upgrade, which is ridiculously fast. And since the Hakuchu Drag is featured on the prize ride this week, I figured it was fitting to use that one for the HSW time trial for this week. Now in terms of route, this one is pretty easy as it's mainly just following the GPS route. Moving on to the normal time trial this week, which is Up and Atom. I highly recommend either the Pariah, Italy GTO, or the Vest 8 for this time trial. And obviously, if you're on next gen, I recommend using the HSW Hakuchu Drag. Now in terms of route, this one is very easy as it's mainly highway. Now usually for these time trials, I challenge myself by picking either the prize ride challenge car or the casino podium car of a corresponding event week. And for this week, we have the Hakuchu Drag as the prize ride car, and the Silvestra as the casino podium car, repeating from last week. Now the Silvestra would definitely have a hard time beating this time trial, but since we already used the Hakuchu Drag in the HSW time trial, I figured I would try it out in the Silvestra, and as I suspected, unfortunately the car just lacks the top speed to complete it. I tried multiple times, trying to get curb boost here and there. I mean, I tried everything possible. The top speed just unfortunately isn't there. So instead, I had to use an alternative vehicle, and I figured I would use one of the heavily discounted vehicles for this event week, which is the Comet, and I was able to beat the time trial with that one after a couple attempts. Moving on to this week's RC Bandito time trial, which is Vespucci Canals. As always, you need to own an RC Bandito in order to participate in these. So this one is pretty tricky if you've never done it before due to all the bumpy and tight areas. So make sure to use your brakes a lot and let off the throttle to maintain the stability of your Bandito in those bumpy sections. And lastly, we have this week's premium race, which is Downtown Underground. This one is restricted to the supercars class. I highly recommend either the Emirates or Krieger for this race. However, if you're on next gen, I highly recommend using the HSW weaponized Ignis or the HSW upgraded Cyclone 2. Now this race is pretty difficult if you've never done it before. Some of the corners are extremely high speed, others are very slow, so you have to have a nice balance and you really have to be familiar with this track to get the best out of it, and it can be pretty tricky, especially with supercars that are really fast. And that's it, guys. The HSW time trial is pretty easy if you use the HSW Hakushu drag. The normal time trial is easy as well if you use a fast car. The RC time trial is pretty tricky, but just take it slow, use your brakes a lot, and you should be fine. And this week's premium race might take some practice if you've never done it before. Again, remember guys, you can earn over $550,000 between the three this week, and setting yourself a goal to beat them is always a lot of fun in my personal opinion. Let me know which one you found most difficult and what vehicles you used down below in the comments. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.